Hey, camera. It's nice to talk to you again. As I promised, I'm here, I'm back to talk to you about something else other than my daily progress in quitting smoking. And I'm still going to talk about it, but not in this video. As of now, I just want to, since I already started doing this, I just want to tell you how I started smoking. I'm sure that many people out there have their own stories of how they started smoking, how they quit smoking, and I just wish that I wanted to tell you at least some of the important parts of why cigarette smoking was the devil that I nurtured for so many years. Well, first off, like I said before, I started smoking when I was 11. Uh, During that time, I started hanging out with friends who go to bars and drink and smoke. But they did not push me to smoke at all. It was actually drinking that they tried to convince me to start drinking. But with the smoking part, no. I was the one who was jealous because they seem to do a lot of tricks with their smoking, like their smoke. They exhale like a dragon. They smoke some donuts and whatnot. There's a lot of tricks that they do, and I thought, wow, that was cool. I felt like if I could do it, I I'd belong to the circle. That's what I thought. At least I could do something impressive, right? So since my mom goes to work nights during that time, I decided on on a brand. That was my first step. I want to decide on a brand, and I chose Philip Morris because that was a long cigarette. So I yeah, I think that's the reason why it's long. So I still get since I'm going to practice on doing those tricks, I might as well use a. I didn't care about the flavor. I just wanted a long stick of cigarette so that I can practice more on it. So I bought three sticks from the store because yeah, you can do that here in the Philippines. You can buy three sticks at a time. You can buy a stick at a time instead of a pack, instead of a box, as you guys in America call it. But yeah, I bought three sticks every night. That happens every night. Then I stand in front of the mirror and I practice. I try to learn how to do those donuts, those dragon breathings, those ugh, so many that you can do with the smoke. That's like what kids do nowadays with the vape, I think. But I don't know, something like that. But yeah, many tricks. I tried to learn them, and I was successful in learning them because I did that every night. I smoked three sticks, practicing those tricks every night. And I don't know if my mom found out, but she never confronted me about it during that time. But yeah, when I started, so I hang out with my friends, and after probably 2 weeks, I showed them that I can smoke, and I showed them the trick that I know how to do the tricks, like very coyly, like yeah, I'm doing this normally. I'm doing this normally. It's I've been smoking for years already, so I know those tricks. That's I was just acting like that, trying to be cool. Little do I know that my friends there were already trying to avoid me because they know that at that time they'll get in trouble if they'll see me along with them smoking. So yeah, I lost a couple of friends there, but it felt cool. I knew how to. It means to say I was successful. I was able to show off, and I can do those tricks. And then came the time that I just I just came home tired, and all I wanted was to sleep. I don't want to practice anymore because I thought I was already good at doing those tricks. Boom! I wasn't able to sleep at all that night. I kept turning and turning and turning and turning, and I didn't know why. I didn't understand why because I was tired, and I came from school. I was mentally tired. I was physically tired, And all I wanted was to sleep, but sleep didn't come. And after a couple of hours of just turning in bed, I thought, well, I guess I might as well see if I'm addicted to the cigarette. So I got up and I walked about a mile in the middle of the night. That's like 12 midnight, literally. I walked a mile just to buy 3 sticks of cigarettes again. Then I smoked it on my way home. Fortunately, nobody caught me that time. And that's when I was able to sleep. Yeah, I'm addicted. But I never got worried about it. I never thought, okay, I'm addicted. So what am I gonna do? I should stop. No, I never thought. I never made a big deal about it. I just thought, okay, so it's official. I'm addicted, and I still went on smoking. So that's how I started smoking regularly, and that went along with my drinking, hanging out with friends who do that until yeah, it took years. Took years. And I even got in trouble at school. I brought some cigarettes in school and I smoked it in this inside our classroom during our recess. And so I got into trouble. I didn't get suspended. I just got a warning. But yeah, it came to show that I didn't care anymore. All I wanted was to smoke. I didn't care whether I'd get suspended or I'd get into trouble with my parents or my teachers. All I wanted was to smoke. 6 months down the road after I started smoking, that's when one of my classmates told me to inhale. Since all I wanted was to do the tricks, I just kept the smoke in my mouth. I did not breathe it in. But my classmate told me to inhale it, like breathe it in, because that's the proper way of smoking. So yeah, it got worse. And of course, I coughed in the beginning, but I liked it. And I thought, and that's when I started feeling this euphoria. And yeah, I got hooked even more. And I believe I started stealing some money from my mom just to add to my allowance and be able to buy a pack of cigarettes. And I've been doing that for years. I've been doing that for years during my younger, stupid age. Um, yeah. So it went on, and I became a big time smoker. And when I stopped going to school, I dropped out of high school that time. I didn't go to school, so there are no rules that I had to follow. And that's when I even increased the cigarettes that I smoke each day. I went from 3 sticks to a pack to 2 packs. I think my parents got tired of me, so they sent me somewhere to hoping that they could keep me isolated and keep out of trouble for a year. And I don't know what they were thinking. And it got worse because I had no parents that time, and my relatives were they just didn't care. And that's when I ended up smoking like 3 packs, about 3 packs a day, because that was the time when the only time I didn't smoke was during meals, while eating, and while sleeping. Otherwise, the moment I wake up, there's always a cigarette. There's always a pack of cigarette and lighter here beside my pillow, and I could just reach it by the time I wake up without even brushing my teeth, without even gargling or whatnot. That's the first thing I do after I wake up. Light up a cigarette, smoke, and continuously chain smoke for the rest of the day except when I'm eating. And yes, even during my shower time. Like I'm taking a shower and I hold the cigarette like this, and yeah, while taking a shower and soaping myself, and I still keep puffing. Oh, crazy, crazy, crazy. But um, yeah, after that, I think I stayed in that place for 3 years. 2 or 3 years, and then I was taken back to the city, my hometown, and of course, my mom was there again to watch over me. So I was trying to be careful. So I believe I was able to reduce from 3 packs to a pack or so. Since I'm not going to, since I wasn't going to school anymore, I also stopped athletics and sports and dancing. And those are two of the big things that kept me healthy and active. However, I started pursuing singing. I joined a band, and I was a vocal keyboardist during that time. And damn, I was good. I know that I was good. But since there were no rules again, I still kept on smoking. And my band had multiple gigs from different bars and clubs that time. And yeah, it was nice. It was fun. It was a good thing to do during that age. However, I still kept smoking, and there were times that I was even sneaking a cigarette in on stage. So I was playing the keyboards, and while everybody was having fun and distracted, I just sneak in a puff while playing the keyboard again, and then sneak in a puff, and then play the keyboard again. Yeah, I was that addicted. Or maybe it wasn't so much the addiction, but just the rebellion, like testing how far I could go, breaking rules. Probably both. Something like yeah, probably both. Um, so I went to singing for a couple of years, and then I don't know. I don't remember, but I stopped. I stopped for a month or 2 months. I just stopped. I just didn't go to bars and play or sing anymore. I didn't even hang out with friends. I just stopped, but I still kept on smoking. But I stopped singing. And after about 2 months, I tried to sing again. And I was really, really surprised because my voice was completely changed. It was changed. It got really, really bad. I couldn't hold notes. I just couldn't sing anymore. It's not just the voice, it's also the skills. I lost my skills for some reason. I believe that some many people told me that I simply abused my voice box during my singing career. So I guess that's it. But I also suspect that cigarette was a part of it. And I came to a point where, in the middle of my singing career, I remember that I came to a point where I was literally sitting down, deciding which to choose. Because I knew that if I continue smoking, I will be ruining my voice and I will lose, I won't be able to sing anymore. Or I will stop smoking and keep on singing, doing something that I love. However, smoking, at that time, I wouldn't say that I loved smoking, but I knew that it is something that I depended on. And guess what? I decided to, well, forget about singing and just continue smoking. Yeah, I was that stupid. Uh, there were many more opportunities that came my way that I had to say no to or stop pursuing because I had to decide between smoking and whatever that opportunity is. Like, if there was a job offered to me, a good job offered too, and the job was great, the salary was great, the boss was great, except that my coworkers couldn't stand me smoking. So I had to decide: do I want to smoke or no? Do I want to keep on smoking, or do I want to pursue this job? And yeah, I I decided to just forget those jobs and just kept on smoking. Um, yeah, I sacrificed a lot of things because of smoking, but it took me years before I said I love smoking and I depend on it so much so that I am already affected emotionally by it. Because during my youth, I wasn't really that emotionally dependent to cigarettes. I think. I never thought, oh, I'm tense, I need to smoke. I never thought that way when I was young. Maybe subconsciously, I don't know. But at an older age, like when I was, I think I was 21 or 23 years old that time already. That's when I started depending on cigarettes to um, calm myself down. Whenever I get nervous, whenever I felt some tension, whenever I there's stress all over, that's when I smoke, and I depended on it. Um, Come age 30, I think, and that's when uh, I thought that I couldn't do some tasks without smoking. And I even got more irritable that time. I couldn't stand hanging out with people because they just annoy me. And if I don't smoke before talking to them for, let's say, 10 minutes and then smoke again, if I'm not able to do that, I'd rather stay home. Yeah, I was that dependent already. And yeah, I remember I I had a photography gig, and my client realized that I was getting hot tempered. I was getting irritable because I was already scolding at the model. And so she interrupted me during my session and told me to go take a cigarette and coffee break. And I did. I did. I complied. I did. And I was great. I was glad that she gave me a cigarette break. And yeah, um, after that, like that was like 10 minutes of cigarette break. When I came back to continue taking pictures of the models, it was all good. I was happy. I was snappy. I was. It felt like the model was cooperating. So yeah, um, that was the time. That was the time. I started to feel like cigarette was my friend. Cigarette um, cigarette smoking is something that I really really depend on, need to have, because otherwise I wouldn't be able to function with the society. And uh, came the time that smoking in public was banned in my country, in some areas of my country, and I hated the president or the mayor for that, but there's nothing I can do about it. So I even isolated myself further, like in my apartment only. That's where I stayed for a couple of years. I only stayed in my apartment just because I'm not allowed to go out and smoke. So this is when I realized that it's taking over my life, and I was still okay with it. When I realized that it took over my life, completely took over my life, I was still okay with it. You know why? Because of course I'm paying for my apartment. I'm allowed to smoke in my apartment. I live alone in my apartment, and I set up this workstation of mine so that even if I am working, I'm still reaching out to my cigarette. I got ashtrays and packs of cigarette rims of cigarettes there. Yeah. So I made my life comfortable for the cigarettes. Despite the fact that the entire world, I mean, yeah, everything around me is telling me to please stop. Uh, during my earlier years, yes, I was popular. Um, I believe some people admire me, and I had multiple friends too. But for some reason, I felt alone. And although I don't directly talk to my cigarette, like if I was smoking, I was just puffing it. I wasn't like talking to it like you're my best friend. I wasn't doing that, but I feel like that's how I felt with my cigarette. Each cigarette that I smoke, I feel like that's how I felt. I felt like I was talking to it, and yeah, I felt like it was my best friend. Eh, during my earlier years, I felt like I was never allowed to show vulnerability to my friends. I felt like I should always be this strong person who doesn't cry, who never has problems, who always have answers for everybody. Little do they know that deep inside I was also struggling, because of course everybody does, especially the youth. Everybody goes through that. So I go home feeling alone, feeling lonely, I mean, and that's when I start smoking. And I felt every time I smoke, I felt like I've spoken to a therapist and it made me feel good. I've spoken to a friend. I opened up what I felt and it made me feel good. That's how it felt whenever I smoke. So those are just small reasons why I chose smoking over other things, many other things. It's because it was my friend. It was my best friend. And that was also the reason why I got really emotional when I finally told you, Cameron, that I'm gonna quit smoking. Cause yeah, it really felt like I was gonna lose a limb or two limbs. That's how it felt, because it has been a huge part of my life that gave me comfort. That I felt it supported me. Um, yeah, it subdued me. It calms me down. Therefore, it's my friend because it calms me down. Or at the same time, when I wake up in the morning, I, ta- I smoke a stick while drinking coffee, and so it feels like cigarette and coffee perk me up for the day. It makes me happy. That's how I felt for how many years? For more than half of my life. So how could you blame me not getting so emotional to be detached, finally detached to something that has been so familiar to me, something that I have been depending on for years. And even now that I'm talking about it, even now that yeah, I finally got got rid of my addiction, I think, because I feel good, but I feel empty. I feel that my life is boring. Like if comes the time that I wanted to smoke, but I don't. I don't smoke. So what should I do during those 5 minutes of my time that I'm not smoking? Nothing. Nothing is coming to my mind. And it makes me feel like, wow, my life is so boring without smoking. That's how I'm feeling right now. Because again, I just lost a friend. Oh, well, I guess that is one thing that I need to. That is one thing that I need to dig into. I need to find a way to not get bored. I need to find a way to do something instead of thinking about smoking or just smoking in all in all. But yeah, um, I hope that my story about how I started smoking and why uh, I've been smoking for years. I hope that people will understand why it was so important to me that I had to smoke. Why it is a big deal it, for me quitting smoking, because it really is. And I believe that I'm not alone. I believe that there are so many smokers out there who have similar stories. Why they don't? It's not. We don't see it as an addiction. We see it as already a part of us. That's why it's hard. It's difficult to just be separate from it. Be a part of. Be separated from it. So, any one of you is going to be watching this, that's how it felt like. That's I hope that you at least um, don't judge the people who are addicted. It's not our choice to just. I mean, yeah, it is our choice to get hooked. It was our choice to get hooked, but it's not as simple as just getting rid of something that is killing us. No, that we really don't see it that way. I don't know what I'm gonna get from this, but that's all I wanted to do. I just wanted to tell you, camera, my story. Yeah. Talk to you later.